Bicester Village is filled with new styles for the season. There's up to 40% off the original retail price all year round at Coach, Polo Ralph Lauren and The White Company. Plus, enjoy sit-down dining and on-the-go treats. Bicester Village, just under an hour from London. So much more than shopping.
Hey, Harry.
Hello, mate.
Got any tips for the football?
Your best bet is to head over to BetVictor. They're giving new customers a terrific welcome offer. If you bet a minimum of £10, they'll give you £30 in free bets.
Phew, that's a steal of a deal.
It's a good darn deal that'll make you squeal for real. Neil?
My name's not Neil.
I know, but it rhymes.
Listen to Harry and make your best bet on the football at BetVictor. 18 plus, opt in and bet on any football marketing at odds of evens or greater. No cash out, 7-day expiry. Terms and conditions apply. Gambleaware.org.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Brian Kilmeade Show. It's my privilege to bring in the 45th and the 47th President of the United States. The first time interviewing you in your second term. Mr. President, how does the first 30 days feel?
Well, I have the best poll numbers I've ever had, so that feels good. It's always nice. We won all 7 swing states in addition, and we got the popular vote by millions of votes. But now I have much higher poll numbers than even the election, so I've never had such wonderful numbers. People have always said, well, I don't know, is he doing good or don't we know or whatever, but I guess people did feel we did a great job in term 1, and that's how we won. But right now I just got them the best poll numbers I've ever had, beating everybody. So that's nice. That's always nice, Brian.
I know. You always like to keep score. Mr. President, the one thing that you inherited, and that is Hamas. Since October 7th, they've been at war, and the IDF has been at war with Hamas. Yesterday, we got 4 hostages back in caskets, 2 of which were children, 9 months and 4 years old. And the mom that they gave back was not even the right body. As we wait for 6 more hostages to be returned on Saturday, what do you think should happen with Benjamin Netanyahu, the IDF, and Hamas?
Well, I speak to him, and he's actually not torn. I mean, you know where he stands, and he would like to go in. He just is so angry, and he should be. If he's not angry, then there'd be something wrong with him, frankly. He is very angry. He's a very angry man at what happened, especially what happened yesterday with these kids. They were babies, and it's rough stuff. It's rough stuff, and it looked like they were celebrating as they were bringing the bodies back. And it's the scene is not even believable, Brian. When you see what's happening, it's sort of not even believable. It's so barbaric. You wouldn't think that could happen in a modern age, but it happened.
You dropped off 2,000-pound bombs to them that they had ordered a while ago. You said basically you're not going to tell them not to go into any province. What Joe Biden was saying, don't go into Rafah. You better stop. Humanitarian aid here, threatening with sanctions. You have a different approach. It's Prime Minister, do what you have to do. So he's got the decision to make. Do I worry about the 30-plus hostages that may still be alive, or do I finish off a terror organization that's trying to destroy you? Are you okay either way?
I am. I really am. When you see what's happening here, it's a hard thing to say. You just wonder the condition of the hostages that they have. One group came in so bad, looked like it was concentration camp in Germany. This was a terrible, terrible thing when I looked. And then the other day, a group came in which was not as bad, actually not really closely as bad. But I think really a lot of the people they have are in such bad shape. They're so violent and vicious. I think a lot of people, if you look, I think they're in really bad shape. Right. I really do. I think they're trying to give the best ones first. And if the best ones are the ones I'm seeing, they're in really bad shape. And sometimes you have to make a decision. It's a decision that has to be made. It's a rough decision. But the scene yesterday was really terrible because you're talking about babies.
But Mr. President, there's no scenario where there's a two-state solution.
This is really a low level.
There's no scenario where there's a two-state solution anymore. I know Mike Waltz, your national security advisor, says there's no way Hamas is in charge there. So this seems... it seems like we're at the ultimate impasse. Your idea of taking over Gaza, making it more international, wasn't necessarily well received by Jordan or Egypt. So what's next, do you know?
Well, we pay Jordan and Egypt billions of dollars a year, and I was a little surprised they'd say that, but they did. And I'll tell you, the way to do it is my plan. I think that's the plan that really works, but I'm not forcing it. I'm just going to sit back and recommend it. And then the U.S. would own the site. It'd be no Hamas, and there'd be development, and you start all over again with a clean plate.
Right.
Another way of doing it, but I don't think it would work, would be to do it with people there. But I just don't see that working. I mean, it's been so many years, so many decades of killing on that site. That is one dangerous place, and Hamas would be there, I guess, depending on what happens over the next little while. But the question is, can you wipe them all out? You know, they're so interspersed among people, and it's certainly not an easy thing to do. But I liked my plan. I thought my plan was good. You get them out, you move them, you build a beautiful community and a permanent community, and you then take the site, the Gaza Strip, you take Gaza, and it's really essentially leveled now. You don't have too much to do other than, remove debris. It's really that place is not livable. And if you gave the people a choice between that and living in a nice community, I think I know where they'd go. But we'll see what happens. I thought it was great because the location is, it's a great location. I don't know why Israel ever gave that up. Why did they give it up? I guess they look at us and say, why did you give up the Panama Canal, Brian? Right?
It's all connected. Ariel Sharon
I can't
decided
believe
to
it.
do
You
that.
look down on a map, they have the whole ocean. And somebody from Israel, I guess, I can tell you who, but it was well known, but he decided to give it up.
Yeah.
It's one of the bad real estate deals. I see a lot of bad real estate deals. That's one of them right there.
So, Mr. President, cover of every newspaper just about is your stance in Ukraine. I was looking up. I almost found no indications that you said anything bad about Zelensky up until the last few days. And it seems as though when he didn't take the mineral deal and was critical of you for having a delegation talk in Saudi Arabia with Russia, that was a turning point for you, correct?
I've been watching this man for years now. As his cities get demolished, as his people get killed, as his soldiers get decimated, where you have old men and young men. You have men that are too old to fight, and men that are too young to fight. I've been watching this for years, and it's a war that shouldn't have started. I know because I was there and I had it. It didn't start. Would have never started. If I won the election, which I did, it's a war that never ever would have started. So I've been watching for years, and I've been watching him negotiate with no cards. He has no cards. And you get sick of it. You just get sick of it. And I've had it. And he then made a deal with us for rare earth and things. And who knows what rare earth is worth, but at least it's something. And who knows what it's worth. Who knows if they even have it. But we made a deal with rare earth, and Secretary of Treasury, a very good guy, actually went there, and they couldn't even come close to getting a deal done. And frankly, I wish he didn't go there, waste all of his time like that. But they couldn't get close. They met, and then when he wanted to get it closed, he was unable to meet him again. But so it was just a wasted trip, a dangerous trip, too. I didn't like it that he was doing it because, he's a good man. I didn't want him to put himself under danger because I had a feeling something like that would happen. But look what you have. You have a man who's led a country that had the most beautiful cities that they demolished, had the most beautiful domes. Those domes are the most beautiful in the world.
But that's Russia's fault, though, Mr. President. Russia
They're
did
all
the
demolished, 1,000-year-old domes, and everything's demolished. I mean, it's like a demolition site. It's sort of like Gaza. In fact, it's more. At least Gaza has a couple of buildings standing. I mean, this place. You take a look at the demolition of so many of those cities, and and all those people are killed. Never to come back again.
But, Mr. President, that's all. That's Vladimir Putin's fault. Don't you agree?
I get tired of listening to it. I'll tell you what. I've seen it enough. And then he complains that he's not at a meeting that we're having with Saudi Arabia trying to intermediate a peace. Well, he's been at meetings for 3 years with a president who didn't know what the hell he was doing, He's been in the meetings for 3 years, and nothing got done. So I don't think he's very important to be at meetings, to be honest with you. He's been there for 3 years. He makes it very hard to make deals. But look what's happened to his country. It's been demolished.
Ready to launch your business? Get started with the commerce platform made for entrepreneurs. Shopify is specially designed to help you start, run, and grow your business with easy customizable themes that let you build your brand, marketing tools that get your products out there, integrated shipping solutions that actually save you time, from startups to scale-ups, online, in person, and on the go. Shopify is made for entrepreneurs like you.
Sign up for your $1 a month trial at shopify.com/setup.
This Sunday, the race for Premier League glory continues as Manchester City take on Liverpool at the Etihad.
As good as it gets!
And you can stream every moment live on Sky Sports.
Well, it's just wonderful.
Available without a contract with Now.
Absolutely brilliant.
Stream Manchester City versus Liverpool this Sunday from 4 p.m. Head to nowtv.com. 18 plus. Sky Sports content streamed via internet. Full terms apply.
But no, I hear you. But Mr. President, you know who's to blame for that. That's Vladimir, but don't you think it's Vladimir Putin that did the invasion unwarranted to try to take back land he had no right to? And don't you think fundamentally that's that? And if you could just, and now both sides want to talk, it seems, so we should just get to that point?
They only want to talk because of me. If I wasn't involved, they wouldn't be talking to each other. And Russia would continue to, go through Ukraine, because they are going through, Brian. They've taken a lot of land. And Russia would continue the march through Ukraine. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't be talking at all. I'm the only reason they're talking.
No, I think that everybody agrees with that. We have Macron coming to see you for France, and then Stormer for the UK this week to move forward.
Yeah, but they didn't do anything either. The war is going on. There's no meetings with Russia, no nothing.
Right.
They haven't done anything. And Macron's a friend of mine, and I've met with the prime minister, and he's a very nice guy, but nobody's done anything. And I've been watching this go on for years, and I'm doing it for one reason. I hate the killing. I hate to see those young people killed. They're not Americans. They're Russians and Ukrainians. I hate to see the killing.
So I just saw the Polish president just tweeted, and he essentially told Zelensky to go back and do a deal with you and try to get to peace. And he just put that out a short while ago. So do you believe that the Russians want a deal? And even though they're the aggressors in this situation, they want a deal because they've had about 700,000 casualties. They're losing 46,000 a month too. So do you believe they were sincere in Saudi Arabia?
Look, Russia, and who is the Polish? Are you talking about Duda?
Yep.
Was it Duda that put it out?
Yes.
Because you have different leaders in Poland. It's very interesting. But no, look, you ready? Russia did not attack during my administration. But I will say he hates Zelensky. He hates him with a tremendous passion. You're lucky you don't hate people, Brian. You don't hate anybody. You've never.
But it's
you've
mutual.
Never been a hater.
I'll give you the exact read. He said, "I suggest that President Zelensky remain committed to the course of calm, constructive cooperation with Donald Trump. I trust that goodwill and honesty form a foundation of the U.S. negotiation strategy. I have no doubt that President Trump is guided by a deep sense of responsibility for global stability and peace." And he said he just spoke to Zelensky. So are you expecting a call from? Would you accept a call from Zelensky today?
Yeah, of course. I'm not playing games. I don't accept or not accept calls. Of course I'll take a call from him. But he's been negotiating for 3 years. And just so you know, when you say Russia was the attacker, yes, Russia was attacked. Russia attacked. But there was no reason for them to attack. You could have talked him out. There was no reason that he should have attacked. That whole thing was going on for years. There was no reason he was going in. It should have never happened. That war should have never happened. And I'm telling you, the way they talked, I said, these guys are going to go into a war. Every time I say, it's not Russia's fault, I always get slammed by the fake news. But I'm telling you, Biden said the wrong things. Zelensky said the wrong things. They got attacked by somebody that's much bigger and much stronger, which is a bad thing to do. And you don't do that. But Russia could have been talked out of that so easily. That should never have been a war. And all those dead people shouldn't be dead, and all those cities shouldn't be demolished right now. So when Zelensky said, he wasn't invited to a meeting, I mean, it wasn't a priority because he did such a bad job in negotiating so far. Number one, you shouldn't have had a war. And if you did, it should have been solved and settled immediately. It could have been.
Mr. President, I think you're 100% right. There's two things.
3 years ago.
Zelensky made two mistakes in 3 days. He criticized you, and then he criticized the meeting, and then he said, I'm walking away from the deal, which was, I think, 55% of their rare earth minerals. It would have allowed America to have a stake there, and nobody would attack Ukraine if America had business there. Having said that, I think if both sides do you think the Russians should be celebrating right now because they hear the rhetoric coming from the White House?
No, because if I got out, I think they really want to make a deal. I do. They found it impossible to make a deal with Zelensky as his buildings came down. You know, the buildings came down all over. They were just raining down. You got nothing. You know, take a look at what he's going to. Let's assume I make a deal. I'm getting him back many demolished cities and the bodies of many dead people. What kind of a deal is that? What kind of a situation is that? There was no reason for that.
No, I hear you.
Russia attacked, but they shouldn't have let them attack because they wouldn't have attacked if you had people that knew what they were doing. Joe Biden is a very dumb man. You know that, and I know it. Joe Biden is a very dumb man who was dumber than ever before because, you know, things have happened to him. He had no idea what he was doing, and everything he said was wrong. And I said, you know what? I think this guy's going to cause I think he's going to cause a war. Right. And that's what happened. And I will tell you, Putin could have been talked out of that so easy, but they didn't know how to talk.
So, Mr. President,
he would have been talked out of that war so easy. They didn't know how to talk.
Right, but
they said all the wrong things. And I'm not trying to make Putin like nicer or better. I'm just telling you the fact that war should have never happened. Putin would have never gone in.
Right.
We know, music interruptions aren't fun. But real quick, heard of Labara Mobile? Maybe? A Which-recommended mobile network with a 4.8 star rating on Trustpilot. Oh, and also named the most popular mobile network at the U-Switch Telecoms Awards 2024. Well, we just had to tell you that now you can join Labara from just £5 a month. Low cost, without the low quality. Join Labara from just £5 a month. Labara, the smarter mobile network.
Great value speaks for itself. Just ask our customers.
If somebody said to me that they wouldn't use Ocado because it was expensive, I would say to them, have you even tried?
Ocado match your shop on thousands of products to Tesco.com.
Mum thinks that Ocado do that especially for her, so I had to tell her they do that for everybody. That's not just you, Mum.
Max £10 voucher for difference on like-for-like shop. Excludes marketplace. Geographical and other restrictions apply. Minimum spend and delivery fees apply. Full terms at ocado.com/price promise.
And we'll see where we go from here. But Mr. President, you have some sway with him. You definitely talk to him more than probably anybody else in the world outside China.
He wants to make a deal.
But here's the thing. They have
and
taken...
he doesn't have to make a deal because if he wanted, he'd get the whole country
But
eventually.
He's paying a huge price, as you pointed out a couple of weeks ago. They have taken about 20,000 Ukrainian kids, and they basically kidnapped them, gave them new names, and put them into homes in Russia. Can you get Vladimir Putin to reverse that? Could that be one of the precursors to show they sincerely want to negotiate?
I believe I could, yes. I didn't know too much about it. I was hearing about it yesterday. It's pretty tough stuff. But I believe I could do that, yes.
Great. I want to talk about something different. Right now, Kathy Hochul says, game on, you drew first blood as you got rid of congestion pricing in New York City. What's your response to her? In fact, here is what she said exactly.
Pricing was very bad.
Listen to this, Mr. President. Listen to this.
And
Cut one.
It was going to kill Manhattan in certain parts of New York. Ultimately, when Manhattan goes, the whole state goes. Manhattan is not doing well to start off with. And all you're doing with congestion pricing is saying don't go in. And it's like $15 a day.
Yep.
And if you're a shoe salesman or if you're a waiter, or if you're the owner of a restaurant or the owner of just about any business, it's a disaster. It's been a disaster every place it's been used. And it is. And, they call me for help, and yet nobody's treated me worse than they have in Manhattan. They have a rigged court system they treated me worse than anybody. There's never been treatment like I've been treated, and that's the way they treat people. They go after people. And, people think that, I should come and help. I view it and I say, what a shame. But despite that, and despite the way I get treated, I do help. I help New York tremendously. And everybody says I shouldn't even bother with New York the way they are. It's a really vicious place from a legal standpoint, from a weaponization. It's totally weaponized. The courts are weaponized, and they're horrible. And I had the best cases nobody could even believe. Every single one of the pundits, from McCarthy to Turley to Greg Jarrett to Dershowitz, said they had no case against me whatsoever. It shouldn't be brought. And you can't win in New York. You get these judges that you can't win. The whole thing is a rigged, horrible system, and it's crooked and corrupt. And they put this congestion pricing on, and it would have destroyed the city even further. You would have had no business left in Manhattan. Numbers were way down. They need business. They need people to go in. It's like putting up a wall. People weren't going to go in. Everybody was going to lose their jobs. Really, it's a very sinister place. What's taken place in New York over the last 8 years or so, it's a very, very sinister place.
And Mayor Adams is finding that out right now.
With de Blasio a little bit, but it's gone on and on and on, and it just gets worse and worse, nastier and nastier. And they got to do something about the court system in New York. It is a rigged system. It's a horrible system. I had 3 judges. They were totally dishonest judges. They were the most dishonest judges. Look, I've been around. I've been to many courts, and I will tell you, these are the most dishonest group of judges I've ever had. I've never seen anything like it.
I think Mayor Adams would agree with you.
It's a very corrupt place, and now on top of everything, what they want to do, and people are leaving. Businesses are leaving in record numbers, and people are leaving. And I'll tell you, Brian, it's really a shame to see such a great place go so bad. And now they put this horrible payment that you have to have for the privilege of going to a place that's not doing very well. It's a loser, and I give my secretary literally a great applause for what he did.
All right, Ted, that was Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. So, Mr. President, right now the market dropped a little because Kmart or Walmart is not forecasting growth in revenues, and they look at inflation. Inflation is stubborn. You inherited it. When does it become your economy? When is it a Trump economy where we get to see if your plans are working?
Well, it takes a period of 6 months to a year. Biden really screwed up our country. He really screwed it up badly. If you look at the deficits we have with other countries, that should have been taken care of, Brian. We have a deficit with China of over $1 trillion, and so it takes a period of time. We're going to have a very strong country. It's going to take a little while to get it back, just like inflation. I gave him almost no inflation, 1.2%, which is perfect, and it went up to 9.9%. Went to, I think, the worst inflation in the history of our country. But I gave him no inflation, a powerful, great economy. And he screwed it up with 2 ways. He spent too much, and Mitch McConnell shouldn't have approved all that stuff. Mitch McConnell did a very poor job, very poor job. He shouldn't have approved a lot of the stuff. He approved it. It was like, I said, what does he have on Mitch McConnell? It's just so sad to see that. But I gave him, and what they've done to this country is just incredible. Between the open borders and prisoners pouring in, and mental patients and everything else pouring in, and it's not easy to get them. They're looking all over the place. They have searches all over the place. But these are professionals at escaping, and Tom Homan's doing an unbelievable job, and Christie Noem, unbelievable job. But
so
they really made a mess of things in foreign policy and in local policy. They have made a mess of this country, but it'll be straightened out. I would say in 12 months we're going to have a whole different country.
This is the sound of Steve saving on his energy bills. And this is the sound of all his neighbours in his street saving too. With British Gas, millions of homes could save more by switching to one of our fixed tariffs. And with Peak Save, you could save even more with half-price electricity every Sunday between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. Search British Gas tariffs and see if you could save now. Eligibility and T's and C's apply.
Luton Airport Express from St Pancras, featuring little prices. Only got 32 minutes to go. Comes every 30 minutes, you know.
So turn up your radio. We'll turn the price way down low.
Book ahead and get a dealio. Starts from a tenner and you're good to go. Nothing worse than traffic.
So. Would it happen on a train?
Heck no. 32 minutes, no traffic.
Cause it's a train.
Luton Airport Express, 32 minutes to go.
All right, so yesterday, it just happened, actually. They voted through the night that a vote-a-rama, and the GOP, the Republican-led Senate, just passed one of two bills. So this was adopted. It's a 52-48, and they're going to get financing for defense and financing for the border, but they didn't re-up on your tax reform. You said this is what Senator Thune told me yesterday about what he's trying to do, because now you want one bill and he's giving you two, cut four. What would that one bill consist of? And what would the second bill consist of? And why not just do one?
Well, I think I'm game, and if the House can execute on getting one done, more power to them. I think at the moment, what we're trying to do is preserve optionality for the president. The president has, campaigned on and said his number one priority is securing the border, and this bill that we're doing today is heavily focused on giving the president the resources he needs to secure the border.
So your thought about the one bill that passed? Yeah,
look. The Republicans mean very well, everybody, but I think Rand Paul voted against it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did I hear that? Oh boy, it never ends with these guys. They have to go and grandstand. But I was very honored by the bill that he did. I think John Thune is doing a fantastic job. But it gives you optionality, Brian. We want one big, beautiful bill, as I say. And, that would include many other things than what we were approved yesterday. But to have what we approved yesterday is nice. And we'll see now how the House is going to do. The House is going with the one bill concept, the Senate the two. And the Senate will come along and do, if they see good progress with the House, they'd rather have everything included also. But we're going to see what the House comes up with. They're working very hard. They think they're going to get there on one bill, and then the Senate would be able to vote on the one big, beautiful bill that would include taxes and tax cuts, and really it'll be the biggest tax cuts in American history. And I would think it's very hard for even Democrats to vote against that.
So it sounds like you're almost open to two. You're still feeling like, let me see what happens, right?
As long as we get to the same point, two bills. So now, what they approved yesterday is one part of it, and then they'd approve another part of it. You could make the case you could do three. You could do for 10, as long as we get along. As long as we get them all added up, and it's the same thing. And I think we're in very good shape. I think that's a good signal. I think it's a very good signal that we got the one bill passed, because there's great unity. We have great unity in the party.
Right.
The House is great, and the Senate is great. We have fantastic unity, and I think it's going to go good. If this didn't get approved, the Democrats essentially would have approved the largest tax increase in the history of our country. And I don't think that works very well for them politically.
Right. And they keep saying your tax reform was for the rich. It is not. It was for the middle class. Yep. And everyone benefited across the line. That's one thing I don't think you guys do a good job pushing back on. In fact, a lot of people who were wealthy got hit on your tax reform bill. But I want to talk about, if I can, 40 media outlets, including ABC, NBC, Fox, CNN, Newsmax, all want you to reinstall the AP because they fear that another president will come in and ban Fox and Newsmax. Do you worry about the precedent of banning something like the Associated Press, even though you might have legitimate concerns about their reporting?
I don't care if they come in or not. It doesn't matter to me. The fake news, they're all fake, most of them. So if they don't come in, that doesn't matter to me. And they're getting the highest ratings they've ever had since I've had, look, if they had somebody else, nobody would be watching. I mean, Sean Hannity had a show the other night with Elon Musk. He set like a record on ratings. And if they don't want to come in and interview and do news conferences, that's okay with us. We just close down the room, let them find out how to do it some other way. Associated Press is a third-rate outfit with a first-rate name. It's got a great name from many years ago, but it's third-rate. It's run badly. It's radical left. Colvin, their reporter, the primary reporter, is terrible. She's a horrible person, a horrible reporter, terrible reporter. And if they don't want to come in, and if some people don't want to come in, there's the one good thing about today is there's so many media outlets. I got elected probably by using the non-traditional outlets. Joe Rogan and a group of people that a lot of people didn't hear of so much. I did interviews, and I'd have 100 million people. With Joe, I had 250 million people. And, there's a whole lot of other people that will take their seats if they don't want to come in. I don't care. I really don't care.
But the fact that you said they wouldn't put Gulf of America in, so you told them to stay out. So you're just saying, forget it, just come back in?
Well, here's the thing. I legally have the Gulf of America is now, from the Gulf of Mexico. It's called the Gulf of America. And it should have for years. But, nobody thought about it. I think of things that nobody thought about. And if you look at the frontage, we have most of the frontage on the Gulf of America, what we call now the Gulf of America. By the way, everyone's accepted it. Google Maps accepted it. Just about everybody accepted it. And
right.
AP wants to be cute. AP is radical left lunatics. They are very I don't think I've had a good story in AP in 10 years. They don't do good stories. And so I view that a little bit too. And that's why they don't want to do this. They don't want to admit. Everybody says it's the greatest idea. Why didn't somebody think of it? Well, I have a very fertile mind, and I think of things. And I also got Mount McKinley put back. Mount McKinley was taken away by people that shouldn't have done that. He was a very good president. He left Teddy Roosevelt a large amount of money. He was a tariff president, and he left Teddy Roosevelt a lot of money, and Teddy Roosevelt took all that money, and he went and did a good job. He built the park system and lots of other things. He built the Panama Canal, by the way. He built the Panama Canal, which we have to take back, because the Panama Canal is being run by China. It was one of the dumbest deals ever made in the history of our country. We lost 38,000 people. It was the most expensive development ever built at that time. But if you bring it up to this day, it was the most expensive development ever built, over $1 trillion. And think of this, Brian, the Panama Canal, we lost 38,000 people. And they gave it away for $1 for no reason. They gave it away for $1 to Panama. They wanted to be politically correct. And we got to take it back, because China has taken over the Panama Canal, and that wasn't the deal. They were charging our ships more than they were charging regular ships. Think of it. They were charging more for our ships. They were charging more for our Navy than for other navies. It's ridiculous what happened, and we're taking it back.
Yesterday, you called the USA hockey team. They lost in overtime to Canada, but the way they stood up in Canada really stood out and upset the team. They lose in overtime yesterday. What did you say to the USA hockey team? Because they were all motivated afterwards, very patriotic people. And what do you say to Justin Trudeau, who's kind of taunting you afterwards, saying Canada will always be for Canadians and we'll always, to paraphrase, we'll always own hockey?
Well, we won the first game. The second game was a great game. It could have gone either way. Justin's a loser, always has been, and he's just a guy that really doesn't. I think he's done a very bad job for Canada. He's taken it radical left, and he's going to lose the election. It looks like pretty big. If he even runs, I don't know.
He's not running.
He's not going to run. Looks like he's not going to run. That's a smart move. because he wouldn't have a chance of winning. So, Justin's sort of a nice guy, but he's a loser. And the game was a fantastic game. I watched the end of it. I was making a speech to the governors of our country, and so I couldn't watch most of it. But I got back. I watched the end. It was a great game. I mean, both teams played really well. I thought it was a terrific thing, and I congratulate the Canadian team because the American team was fantastic. But they each won one game.
But here's the thing, Mr. President: they booed our national anthem, and in Boston, we did not boo theirs. Are you proud of you proud of the people that attended?
Yeah, I think it's great that they did. And we have a good relationship with Canada, not with Justin, because he's too far radical left. He's so radical left. He's killing Canada. Canada is doing terribly right now, and his policies, his radical left, Marxist policies have absolutely destroyed Canada. Canada is in bad shape.
So, Mr. President, a couple of things. You're trying to get LIV and the PGA together. What kind of progress did you make? And could your next project be college sports? Between the NIL and everything else, their money's pouring in, but certain colleges are getting locked out. Are you concerned about the direction of college sports, and is that something you want to get involved in?
Well, that's a decision in colleges that should have been appealed. I mean, I couldn't believe how easily they seem to have given up on that. And I don't like what's happening in college sports. I don't like that decision that was made. College sports was so great for so many years, and they go in and they win one case. I don't know that case was appealed. I won a lot of cases, as you know better than anybody, on appeal.
Right.
So I don't know what's going on with that. I think it was a terrible decision and very bad for college sports. Absolutely.
All right. Do you see yourself playing a role in that, of maybe bringing sides together to try to get some?
They're still fighting it, but are they fighting it? They didn't fight the decision. Why didn't somebody go in and appeal the decision?
Right.
Now, maybe they did, but it doesn't seem to me that they did, but maybe they did. But, you got to fight these cases right until the end. You got to take them up to the Supreme Court. You have judges, you have radicalized judges, but, you have to take these cases up to the Supreme Court sometimes. It just seems to me that they didn't use the power of the appellate courts.
Mr. President, I know you got to run, but I have a couple of things. Number one, Booker T. Washington needs to be in your African-American Black History Month. I think he's the type of guy that was teamed with Teddy Roosevelt, like Frederick Douglass, that you will just love, like Andrew Jackson, who made the cut again in the Oval Office. And number two, if you could bring me back to this moment. You're sitting in the White House, and when you were marched down in Georgia and you're taking your mugshot and you're sitting there by yourself, and then you got to walk out, get in your caravan and go back, did you think to yourself, I'm going to be president, it's just a matter of time? Or were you thinking possibly at that moment, I don't know if I could turn this thing around? Too many cases, too much momentum the other direction.
Well, it was a very low period. It was a horrible thing. We had some real sleazy, corrupt prosecutors doing things in many cases. I mean, deranged Jack Smith, Fonnie Willis. She calls herself Fonnie, I think. Over absolutely bogus cases. I have it in New York, with cases in New York that are just so disgraceful. So disgraceful how corrupt it is, and everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Whether you like these people or not, but every one of the pundits that you have on the show all the time, not one of them said that I should have been sued on any of this stuff. It was all made up stuff, especially the New York stuff,
right? And
just all made up stuff with crooked judges, corrupt judges, very corrupt judges. And it's a shame.
Right.
So I knew that, and I knew how crooked the system was. In New York, they wouldn't even let me go to the courts that you were supposed to go to. They had these judges hanging on to cases for dear life. They wouldn't let those cases go. Vicious stuff. And people know it, and that's one of the reasons businesses aren't coming into New York. But if you would have told me, what was my attitude then, I think honestly, Brian, my attitude was just fighting. I wasn't thinking about losing. I was thinking about fighting because I knew how corrupt they are. And when I had to take a mugshot, that was a low a low point. But when I looked at how the mugshot turned out, it was a picture that somehow got snapped up by the whole world. It's they rate it now the number one mugshot.
Right.
Used to be Frank Sinatra and
Now it's you.
Elvis, and there was some pretty good mugshots taken. But this has blown everything away. So you understand what I mean by that. So it started off as it was a horrible thing to have to go through that. And it taught me a lot. It taught me that we have to have an honest court system. We also have to have an honest press. We don't have an honest press.
Right.
And many of our courts, not everywhere, but in particular in New York, they're so corrupt. And what happened in Georgia was a very corrupt prosecutor. That was a very, very corrupt prosecutor. You know that better than if you look at what happened in Georgia.
I remember.
With Fonnie Willis. That was a very corrupt situation too. I mean, they indicted so many people. So many people were so badly hurt, and they were hurt for nothing, for being patriots. They were old. Some of the people were very old people. They loved our country. They love our country. I hope they still love it. And they were treated so badly. But I think I was really thinking. People do ask me that question. I think I was only thinking about winning.
That's amazing. Mr. President, thanks so much. I appreciate your loyalty to the radio show. It's been a fascinating 30 days. I look forward to covering the next 4 years. Thanks so much, Mr. President.
Hey, Brian.
Yes.
I have no loyalty to your radio show. I only have loyalty to you. So if you're doing radio, that's good. If you're doing television, that's good too. And if you're writing something, if you ever reduce yourself to that, that'll be fine too. Okay?
I'm honored with that comment. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Have a great day.
Thank you, Brian.
Fox News Audio presents the Fox Nation Investigates podcast, Evil Next Door, exploring the life and crimes of 5 serial predators from across the United States. Follow and listen starting February 25th at foxtruecrime.com. Listen to the show ad-free on Fox News Podcast Plus, on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music with your Prime membership, or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.